Kimberly Olson here, also known as the Gold Digger Girl, coming in for an amazing interview experience with one of this woman. I mean, I can't even begin to describe how amazing she is, and you guys are going to get to see that. But Courtney is somebody that I've known for a few years now. She's been in our community, in our programs. I've been able to work with her one-on-one personally. But she's also helped me a lot, and she's helped me learn a lot about myself, but also give me a little comfort in just some of the things in the way that I'm wired and the way that I operate, but also how I can interact with others better. You know, some of the things that we've talked about have allowed me to be a better mom and just understand my children better. And just the way that we're interacting with each other, it's just been mind blowing. So I said, hey, can we get some time for you to come into our communities and really just share, you know, this knowledge, this information, because I really think that more people need to be talking about this. So I'm excited to bring Courtney from backstage. I want you guys in the comments, I would love to know, what would you say is like your biggest kind of struggle, the thing that you causes you the most angst? Okay, so for some of you, it could be worry, stress, fear. It could feel like you're just never have enough time. You might feel you're just kind of all over the place. For some of you, it could be a relationship turmoil, right? You are having conflict with your preteen, or you and your husband, or maybe you feel like, you know, you have big goals and big dreams, but you don't know how to like actually make them come into fruition, right? Finding your niche, like who are you, right? How can you really connect? Maybe some of you feel like you're going through the motions and you're not passionate, you're not powerfully showing up, right? This is the level of conversation we're going to have today. So from backstage, I want to bring you guys Courtney Koenig. Welcome on, Courtney.
Hey, thanks for having me on. I'm so excited to be here.
Gosh, yes. Oh my gosh. I wish you lived closer because we could just hang out together and just really just have some girl time and just talk about real things. So thank you for being here. And I would love for you to tell everyone like how you got into this work and like what we're going to talk about. Give them a little taste.
Yes. So I am a global human design coach. I have a program that's all over the globe, and I teach people to really tap into that inner power work, you know, the work that actually works because it's personalized to them and their gifts and their strengths and their talents. And it's just beautiful because it brings about this freedom to do what we're really meant to do, you know, to drop those barriers and to become who we're supposed to be, who we felt in our hearts to be. And so I came on my own journey of this, you know. We have been working together and known each other for a little while. And I was just looking at a picture of us when we first met. And I was like, oh my goodness, if I knew what I knew now, you know, like what a beautiful experience and journey that this has been to create this system to really help people to tap into their inner power and inner strength.
That's awesome. So I think a lot of people in our community know you because you've been present and done guest trainings and whatnot. But can you tell everyone a little bit about your journey from more of the masculine energy of building a business? Because I know you and your husband have a successful company that you run. You're still a big part of that. And I'm sure that came from more of a masculine place and you guys have scaled it to it's amazing. And you also tap into this other side of you that to me is just every time I hear your voice, and we'll talk about the podcast later, but it's just this calming, graceful, just your breathing, because I tend to not breathe. But like, can you tell us a little bit about like how you started in business? Was it with your husband? And then how did you get into this, like your own beautiful thing that you are creating? Because it's incredible.
Yeah. So my husband and I started this company about 20 years ago, and we service Fortune 500 companies, and we have a couple $1 billion clients. And
no.
Yeah. So I remember like being in a meeting with one of these clients. This is pre-knowing my human design and all these things, and being really anxious and nervous, you know, and stressed and stuff, and feeling like, oh, I have to show up in this certain way, you know, kind of that more aggressive mentality and things like that. Well, it was amazing. So we were in this meeting, and I had this thought, like, just relax into it. You know exactly what they need to hear. So say that very thing. And so when I said that very thing, the whole room was like, was this audible sigh, like, okay, we got this. People started laughing more, you know, And here it's playing on this really high level. So I just, even in that moment, I recognize the more me that I am, the better that things happen and flow into it. And so when I started on the human design journey, I was like, okay, I'm going to do this experiment for myself and really see, is this going to make a difference in who I am and how I show up? And so when I did so, I was like, oh, I have this gift of really connecting with people on a deep level. I have this gift of seeing situations in a unique perspective. And I have this gift that says, I need to vocalize this. I need to share this with others. So when I gave myself freedom to kind of play around with these gifts, I was like, oh, wow, yeah, this makes so much sense. Like people have said so often, like, oh, I just love, you speak and I feel comfortable sharing. I feel like at home with you. Well, I could tell now from my chart, like there's a reason. And if I lean into that even more, things accelerate. And I didn't work harder to expand my business. I just worked more me. And that was magic enough for it to skyrocket and to be what it is now.
Can you say that last part again? You showed up more of you and did work more. What did you say? That was so good. Y'all break that down.
I showed up more me. I worked less than I have ever had. But I work more efficiently because it's me. It's me connecting with people. It's me showing up as my true, authentic self. But I've been given a roadmap that says, you know what, this is you and you can do this. This is your abilities. And that is so special. And it's not just something that comes easy to me. It's what makes me special. So it validated my soul. And from there, I could do anything.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good. And I think, if you think about, I'm participating in this corporate initiative with some larger companies, more details to come. Can't say anything yet, but I'm one of the keynote speakers for this virtual series they're doing because they're finding women are leaving corporate in mass exodus because they're not feeling seen. They're not feeling heard. They're not feeling appreciated or valued. And I suspect that transitions over to entrepreneurship as well. And for some of you, it could be that your husband doesn't think this is a real job, right? They don't think this is a real business. Or for a lot of you, I suspect, and I want you to hit on this, Courtney, is that you're not giving yourself permission to say what you really think, what do you care about? What are you passionate about? When you go to write that post and you're like, what will people think? That right there is telling you that you saying what will people think is pulling you out of alignment and being your true self. And we feel that. We don't feel like we're fully showing up when we're holding back like that. So can you talk a little bit about how, because you said, I'm just being myself and, I'm showing up fully. What does that mean? What does it look like to not show up fully? And how can they make that transition?
Yeah. So there is, we have best practices, right? And great strategies. We also have the part of business that we don't talk about a whole lot that happens in our mind, these blocks, these limiting beliefs, these struggles within ourselves. And when we believe in ourselves relentlessly, when we say, you know what, I know that this mission that was poured into my soul is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. I believe in that mission so much, and I believe in myself so much that I'm going to share, that I'm going to post, that I'm going to talk about it. And I'm not going to get to the point where I'm thinking about other people because it's not about them. It's not. It has nothing to do with them. It only has to do with ourselves. And whenever we hit these next level challenges, which always comes in business, right? Every level of business has a challenge, but we can take those challenges and think, wow, look at where I'm at. I'm ready to hit the next level. And so I'm going to believe in myself even more than I ever thought was possible. And that's where things start to flow instead of things start to get stuck, And that stuck, yucky feeling doesn't feel good, but we're in control of that. That's the coolest thing, It doesn't happen anywhere else, but it's our job as business women to believe in ourselves and to believe in our message and fire and fuel that every single day.
Yeah. And it's like, I love that you have plants behind you because this is so much about it's the daily like nurturing. It's, planting the seeds. So some of you are like, okay, this is resonating with me, but what do I do now? Right. And it's the day to day. It's starting to, plant the seeds, but also water the garden. And how do you do that? Which we'll talk about. And when you have lots of clients that you work with, when I work with clients, I can tell how successful they're going to be and how quickly they're going to go based on their belief in themselves. So I can't even tell you how many times I've worked with somebody who had no business, no social following, nothing. We do the one-to-one to map out what they're going to launch. And I know, I'm like, they're going to run, they're going to go because they're so confident in themselves. They have no idea what they're doing. It's like build a rocket ship while you're flying. You've all seen people do that and you're going, how in the heck did they do that? It's just belief. They believe it's possible. So then it happens, right? So can you talk a little bit about everyone watching on here, is this resonating with you all, by the way? Let us know in the comments, give us feedback. So what can they do that are watching if they're like, okay, what is human design, by the way? How do I figure that out? How do I apply that in my life? And what's sort of the process for this new kind of embodying like who I really am? And I love how you said your soul, like, it's like, this is who I am. There's something so comforting. It's just so comforting when you're like, this is who I am. Oh, it's like, you almost like realize that you have amazing gifts. And instead of focusing on the negative stuff, it's not. It's just, let's focus on your gifts and develop those. So can you talk about a little bit about that?
Yeah, totally. So human design gives you a chart, and you've gotten your chart and the chart looks crazy, right? You're like, what is this? I have no idea. So I help people to guide through like, okay, what are your gifts that lay on your chart? And I create a roadmap that's really simple to like, okay, here's what you can do about your gift. You have a gift. Now here's what you can do about it. What I love about human design too, is it tells the brain that, yeah, it's okay to lean into these gifts. So we can kind of think of human design like other, like a personality test, like the Enneagram or Strength Finders. If people love that, they will love human design, but it's only based on our date of birth. And so our brain's like, okay, I know Courtney said that I have this gift, do I really have this gift, but the brain's like, well, it is only based on my date of birth. I didn't have to ask any questions. So because of that, my date of birth is a fact. So this gift must be a fact. So instead of the brain trying to find these loopholes around, like, you know what, I know you think you have this gift, but you really don't, that type of thing, or you were really hungry when you took that other test. There's no way around it, It is what it is. So the adaptability of our brain to say, yes, this is what it is huge. And so for that, it's at the forefront of personal development and the forefront of mindset work, because that gap is gone. There's no loophole for that. And so what we do to apply that is we take that gift and how do we put that in action? I'm like the queen of thought-provoking questions. And we have to have thought-provoking questions that triggers us to think, okay, how can we adapt this into our life? How can I step into this, piece of freedom that my soul is calling me towards? How do I create this alignment so that I have space to have that velocity and to really hit those goals and those dreams as quickly as I want to achieve? Because there is no limits with human design. It doesn't put us in a box or anything like that. It's like, it breaks the box down and it's like, this is you. And the neat thing is, I just had a coaching session this morning and the client, and I was like, she's like, well, is it going to box me in and frame me in? And I was like, no, because your design, how all the intricacies of your design in your chart are unique to you. I don't know the percentage, but there's like 200 like different moving pieces of human design, and the correlation of all those pieces make up you. So it's like a snowflake. You're special.
Like a snowflake.
Yeah, and you have that ability to lean into these, and it's just you, so.
That is so awesome. Yeah. So I can't remember who said it, but there's like a million different combinations or something. And so like I did Strength Finders. I've done the, what's that other one? It's something with money.
Enneagram.
Like wealth, the Enneagram one and the wealth one. And, there's this part of you that you read it, and Strength Finders is pretty in depth. and somebody else can have, similar results. And I like it. This is totally different, you guys. Like, this is down to, all the nuances to it. Now, I will say, if you get it, you're not going to know what it is. You need to work with someone like Courtney who specializes in this. But once they're able to interpret your chart for you, it is so unique to you. It is unbelievable. And I'm telling you, from start to finish, it was spot on. But again, it's allowed me to, my relationships are different, how I interact with my team, especially parenting, because that was, because we were so different. My youngest one and I are like opposites. And so what will happen is it's going to allow you to understand yourself more, because once you understand yourself more, you can show up different in the world and communicate differently. But for those of you, honestly, I do see a lot of resistance around just being yourself. For most of you, I don't see a lot of people just putting it out there. So why is that? Where does that come from? There's something there that you need to explore and figure out, so you can really own who you are, be proud of who you are, be proud of your gifts, and be like, yes, like, this is who I am. And let me just, if you're around us right now and you're like, okay, these ladies, someone said, how are you guys so confident? How did you develop that confidence? Well, what you're seeing is us expressing our gifts fully. We own who we are. We celebrate who we are. And it's not to say, we don't have humility. It's to say we are celebrating our gifts. We're proud of our gifts. We're going to tap into those gifts to make the world a better place. Like, Courtney could just be doing her company with her husband, and that's what she does. And she's got, you have 4 kids?
Yep.
4 kids. She's got a lot going on. No, her soul doesn't want to stop there. Her soul wants to make a difference in this world. Her soul wants to make a different place. She's developing like her own certification to train others in all her modalities, because she's got mindset coaching as a background, all these things, because she wants to change the way that we see ourselves and how we're interacting with others and just how we're showing up. So, okay, if they're listening and they're like, okay, I'm convinced, I can see the benefits here. What do I do? How do I figure out my human design? Can you share with them what the next steps would be, and what you have that can help them? Because like I said, I've been a client of yours on the receiving end, so I know what it's like. But why don't you tell them what's next?
Yes. So the next step is to find out your human design, get your chart, and so they can just go onto my website and get their chart. And that's the first place to start, is here it is. But we want to know, we want to make real change. We don't want to just be like, well, that is cool, or that's kind of weird, I don't know what to do. Okay, whatever, and put it off to a corner. That's what I find so oftentimes, is that entrepreneurs are like, well, I have this huge to-do list. That's way more important than like taking some time to learn about myself, taking that personal development time, that inner work time. But that is key to how their day is going to go. That is critical to expanding and to growing and to making real money. That is key. Like, we think of all your best strategies and bringing your best A game. And athletes, they practice and they practice and they practice. So why aren't we practicing knowing who we are? Why aren't we practicing with these gifts? If we think, well, let's play around with these gifts, let's see how they develop. They can develop when we know exactly what they are. So that's the first place to start, is knowing who they are, what they are. And so getting an iridescent human design reading. And it's really the most beautiful experience. Each episode is a private, the whole thing is a private personal podcast made for you, all about you. And there's like over 30 episodes that break down every single part of your chart. But not only that, because I'm like, that's cool, but like, to know, like, here's what we're going to do about it. Here's the action that I want you to take based on that gift. And stepping into that role, stepping into that confidence, that clarity, and makes all the difference. And knowing and shining a light on, okay, this is who I can be. So I'm going to start showing up for that. And it naturally starts happening. And naturally, once you're like, okay, here we go,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've definitely sent you Voxers going, oh my gosh, I just listened to this episode and this makes so much sense. And so we'll put for those, because this will be on the podcast too. We'll put it in the show notes, but can you tell us, and I want to tell them about Iridescent because I have Iridescent from you. What is your website? Is it CourtneyKoenig.com?
CourtneyKoenig.com. Yep.
Yeah. Cool. And then so when they go on there, they're going to do their human design chart, or can they go straight to Iridescent? Because is that part of it?
Yeah, they can go to Iridescent and they can get their human design chart. There's a link in there as well. So it's all on there. It's all included, and showing the way of like, okay, here are your gifts. And here's exactly what you're going to do to empower those gifts step by step by step.
Cool. Okay. So I, completed my human design chart with Courtney. And then from that, she was able to custom make a podcast for me. I have it like, when you go into iTunes and or Apple, whatever, and you have the little cover of a podcast you're listening to, it's your own. Like she made you your own. So it's like your little face and it says Iridescent, but it like just feels so like, this is for me, this is something sacred and special. It's a private podcast. No one else, it's not like it's out on Apple. So she'll send that to you. And then what happens is she has, day 1, day 2, day 3. And so you can go through them. I go through them over and over again, but you can listen one a day. I actually binge and I'll do several at a time. But what's so powerful is she's literally breaking down your chart. She's telling you about it and how to apply it to your life. And then she gives you, do you call it an iridescent action? Is that what you call it?
Yes.
Okay. So she gives you an iridescent action. So for me, one of them was, before making a decision, just pause and reflect on that decision. And do you have room for that right now? And do you want to commit to that? And are you saying yes to just say yes? And I'm like, oh, that's such a novel concept. But the iridescent actions allow you to take what she's custom made for you and then apply it. And the most important part, I think, is that you're having Courtney talking audio about you. So it's going right into your subconscious mind, because we know audio accesses a different part of the brain. So think of it this way. It's sort of like rewiring the way your brain is seeing yourself, your subconscious mind. It's getting to that level because you have Courtney, an expert, positioned as an expert. So your brain's like, okay, this authority figure is telling me this about myself. Okay. And this is how I can apply it. I mean, you guys, it is so powerful. And so every day in the morning, you can listen to your iridescent podcast for the day and boom, you've got, what are you going to focus on? Could you imagine what could happen of just once a day focusing on that iridescent action in the course of a month? I mean, look at like how different we are since we first met a couple of years ago. I mean, the growth is like exponential, and it's this personal development work. It's you working on yourself will trickle over in every area of your business. So let's get out of the masculine of hustle, grind, more, and let's move more into the feminine.
Yeah. And that move into the feminine is such a beautiful move. And so often people think like, oh, well, I have to hold on so tight. I have to like, if I don't just, do, or just squeeze it to death, that it's not going to happen. But the amazing factor is in release. That is where expansion really happens, and releasing into this power that we have innately within us, that we have either conditioned to say, you know what, no, you're not the best speaker, so don't talk, type of thing, or we're not the best, whatever, at this and that. This strips it all back. And it's almost like when we were kids again, and we had no fear of doing things, or no fear of dancing, or no fear of how we showed up with our friends, it takes it back to that. But also children have such great joy, and they have such great attunement with what are they going to do next? And their life is such a journey, The more we play in our business, just in general, the more we have fun with it, the more we tap into this side that is truly ours, and we can embrace this feminine side and embrace the work that doesn't feel like work, the beauty that is there that we have no idea was just waiting for us, just as we release and let go and truly allow our divine innate gifts to take center stage instead of the other way around.
That's so beautiful. I love it. Doesn't that resonate with you guys? Yeah. And the results you're getting now tell you if you're tapped in and you're in alignment, and if it's flowing and it's happening effortlessly, then that's awesome. This can just add to that. But if you're feeling like, something's missing, or this isn't working, or I feel like I'm pushing a boulder up a hill, I would encourage you to explore. So you can see, if you're watching this on YouTube or here, I think, where else are we? You can see Courtney's name on the screen, CourtneyKoenig.com. You can find Iridescent on there. And make sure she knows that you came from our community. So that way she knows you already have the context that we talked about. And then so I want to encourage all of you guys to go do that. That's your homework. And then I do want to mention, while I have y'all on here, and Courtney, you can touch on this for me if you don't mind. Next week, we're doing a masterclass. We're only going to do this once this year. It's brought back by popular demand, but I restructured it. It's called How to Monetize Your Facebook Group in Less Than 72 Hours. So we're going to do a 3-day masterclass inside of Gold Digging Boss Babes. We're streaming in 2 groups right now. So depending on where you see this, make sure you go there. If you want to know more about that, just let our team know and get yourself registered. But Courtney, can you share with them a little bit about what you've learned in our communities on Facebook groups and how it's helped you?
Oh, it's been incredible. Like, that is the masterclass that I took from you. And everything, I was like, oh, okay, this is what I need to do. And it gave me so much amazing best practices that I couldn't find anywhere else. Like, you're so clear cut about here's what you need to do. It's such a simplified system, but it's so powerful. And that is how I have grown my practice globally. Like, people ask, oh, what did you do? What was so special? I'm like, Facebook, Instagram. I mean, it's these practices that you're teaching about, these groups and communities that took my business to the next level and are still the foundational best practices that I use now. So they're incredible, amazing. So
that's awesome. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate it. I didn't ask her to say that, but you can just put groups in the comments and our team will sweep through and tag you guys. Okay. And Holly, I'm a generator as well. So that makes sense because we like totally connected right away. I'm a big time generator. Okay. So
I was going to tell you too. So when they drop your name on the checkout, I'm going to gift them a special gift that I don't have released at all. It's an abundance boost video for their design type. So, when you're like, this is like a quick shot in the abundance boost for your mindset that works. And it's just stunning. So that's what I want to give to your community. So,
oh my gosh, thank you. I'm looking forward to the abundance boost.
Yes.
I want that. Yay. Okay, cool. You rock. Well, thanks for being so generous to them, and y'all go check it out. It's going to change your life. And let take a screenshot of you watching this. If it's on the podcast, on YouTube, inside the groups right now, take a screenshot, tag us, put it in your stories and say, just learned some cool stuff about human design. People love seeing that you're learning things. So throw it in your stories and tag us at the Gold Digger Girl. Courtney, what is your Instagram? Is it Courtney Koenig?
It's Courtney.Koenig.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So just give us a tag, reach out and say hi to Courtney. Go follow her, check out what she's doing. It's incredible. So thank you for being on, Courtney.
Thank you so much, Kimberly. This was great. Thank you.
It was awesome. I loved it. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging with us. Until next time, get lit in your business and set your soul on fire. We'll see you later. Bye.